Sorry, we have a little bit of difficulty. I'll try to solve it for a sec. Okay, I think we're good to go now. Oh, no. Again, maybe if I open the window. Got a little problem with the Wi-Fi. Okay, I think we're good now. Sorry, there was a technical problem. And we'll start. And just turn off my phone. Great. So it's gonna be somewhat with technical problems because my Wi-Fi started to make some hiccups. I want to focus today on using the stereo microscope as the beginning of our sample scanning and pipetting the specimens out of it. I start by saying I'm not a pro. I have no training at all, no education in the field, just based on my experience, and I'm happy to hear your thoughts and techniques as well. Just a second, there is a police car outside. Okay, better. So let's start by defining our tools. So as you see, I'm using the Olympus SZH microscope. It has a revolving objective, which I can choose to use different magnifications. And right now I got the 2x on it, and also the 1x plan apo. The 2x is not apo. The zoom factor is 10 times, so I'm going for 0.7 to 7. We can also have an iris here, which is beneficial when using high contrast specimens, and everything goes to the camera. The microscope sits on illumination base. The light comes from beneath. This is very important. We'll see how it affects our ability to recognize specimens. And I start by doing a little show off of what we can do. So I'm turning the light all the way. And why can't I see it? Just a sec. Oh, I think it's on the zoom. Okay. So now I'm focusing on a Clostridium leaf with the highest magnification. And we can even detect with the stereo the Brownian motion of the barium sulfate particles in its end. And all the dots that you see around are bacteria. So just to give you a taste of the strength that the stereo microscope can give us. Back to a webcam. I'll want to show you some of the tools that I'm using. First, we got some different very thin needles that I'm attaching to plastic rods. You can use entomological needles, but I prefer to use the much thinner acupuncture needles. And those also have several thicknesses and grades. I found that the most thin one are the ones for babies. So acupuncture needles for babies, and I'm mounting them just a simple plastic rod that I took from a brush, and they are very, very useful for manipulating and cleaning, as we'll see. Very cheap. The needle itself is around I guess 100 microns, and the tip is very sharp. Next time you go to your dentist, just ask him for if he got some old tools, because they discard a lot of those and you can use them. They'll give it to you for free most of the time, and they are very useful as well. Silicone spatula, scalpel, various tweezers. All the stuff I'm showing, it's very cheap. You can get it, on the regular sites. Next, very important, petri dishes. I love the 6 centimeters one, and specifically those from Duran. There is a relatively cheap and very quality dishes. The model is a Steriplan. They are very flat, which is very convenient where we're focusing. You don't need to refocus when you're watching. Also great for the inverted microscope. They are not expensive. Try to get them. The brand name is Duran and the model is Steriplan. channels for cleaning, or another microfiber towel. And now, very important, are micropipettes. We use micropipettes to transfer our specimens from the petri dish to another one, or to a slide. And you want basically one that has 2 to 10 microliters. Okay, that's adjusted for 2 to 10 microliters. That's a very nice volume. Also, this one is a branded one, but you can get very cheaply on Amazon or AliExpress, unbranded one, and those are very fine for our purpose because we don't need the accuracy that labs needed. We just want to transfer around 10 to 10 microliters, and those have changeable pipette heads. Those are also very cheap. You can get 1,000 for nothing. When we got larger specimens, like hydras, copypods, etc., I cut the top of the head so it won't harm the specimen. And for transferring from, let's say, from a jar to our petri dish, we got those disposable, very cheap pipettes for large volumes. Okay, that's the tools. Now let's talk a bit about illumination. I zoom out, and now we're watching our petri dish with about a 2-day-old sample, and you're noticing it's very contrasty and colorful, which help us to identify our specimens, because we are using here a dark field illumination. If I'll switch for a second to bright field illumination, and I'm lowering the light so I won't blind you, you can see that the contrasty algae, the Spirogyra, and debris are still visible, but we don't get much of the ciliates. If I'll zoom in, so here in the middle you can barely see a rotifer, but if I move to bright field, to dark field, you see how it shines much more contrastier. So dark field illumination is very important with our subjects. You can do it by yourself. You don't have to buy an expensive dark field base. Switch to the webcam for a sec. Instead of the base, which I'm turning off now, we can use a simple LED flashlight. We need a powerful one, but those are quite cheap these days. And as you can see, the base is turned off now. And I'll switch back to the stereo view. With some adjustment, you can get a very nice dark field experience. It's somewhat a mix between dark field and incident illumination, but it's enough for our purposes, and of course it's very cheap. There are also other techniques to create dark field illumination for stereo microscope using circular LED lights, etc. You can find it on the web by searching. So I'll turn the flashlight off and back to our base, which is more powerful. Okay, so what are we doing in the dish? When I take a sample, I usually don't use a plankton net. I don't like using a plankton net because it's you can't take from a specific source like bentos or the upper part. Some of the specimens are of course going out with the water, and a lot of them are dying. I prefer just take a jar from a specific source and then using the stereo microscope to isolate and see what I've got inside. It's a very powerful and a very efficient. So if we look here, I'm starting always a very broad view, because even in broad view you can identify a lot of the specimens, and you can see I can, with the fine needle, just take the algae outside. And I'm at the lowest magnification now, and even with this magnification we can see Eplotids, Frontonia, even a gastrotrich. You can see it in the middle now. Of course I'm seeing a little bit better with my own eyes than on the camera, but let's zoom in a bit. I consider 4x magnification as a good starting point and a minimal point if you want to identify silhouettes. So now I'm at 4. I think I'll lower the illumination a bit. And I can easily recognize Frontonia, two species of Frontonia. You can see in the middle Urucentrum rotating. The ability to zoom in and out, giving us a very nice perception of our creatures in different magnifications. So we once we accustomed to see them in high magnification, low magnification, we can easily spot them and identify them. I see something interesting here. Let's clean the area and zoom in. That's silhouette. It looks like a dead Urucentrum to me. Okay, zooming out. You can see that even that I've put it not long ago, we already have, I'll zoom in, we already have a very identifiable bacteria layer on the top of our water column. Right now it's about, I guess, 300 microns deep. Let's see what else we can see here. A lot of the creatures are herring. A lot of euplotids. And it's nice scanning along the spirogyre filaments, because we can see amoebas, and here is a peritrich. Zoom out digitally. You can see a peritrich here. What else? Here are two more. The Frontonia is floating on the top. You can see a lot of Certophorids running around the filaments of the spirogyra, very common. And of course I'm moving the petri dish with my hand. Let's look at some more dishes. I'm switching now to a different one, which is much more eutrophic. And here is a nice copypod nauplius. It's too bright, let's move it. Here is another nauplius. Looks like a different stage. This sample is very hazy because it's eutrophic. See a lot of tiny ciliates moving around. It's very nice to watch the differences between the upper column, the upper water column, and the lower water column. Here we can see some diatoms attached to these spirogyra, trichome. Okay, I'm going back to another dish now. This one is older, and you can see the top layer is very dense with debris and bacteria. You can see the bacteria layer, the biofilm is very dense. And now at the maximum magnification, I'll zoom in digitally a bit. And here is a hypotrich that likes to nibble on those bacteria. And let's go down because I got some interesting specimens here. Here is a worm, hypertreech, another hypertreech, a rotifer, and the Loxophyllum. This one is very nice. Tiny hypertreech. Okay, here we can see a testate amoeba, and if it was live I could easily see its pseudopodia with the dark field. Let's clean a bit, and with the needle I can easily manipulate it zoom out and just a second, string here. I want to switch head is dirty. So if I want, I can now easily take it in and transfer it to another place. We can see here another testate amoeba. Even when the pipette is calibrated to, let's say, 10 microliters, we don't have to use all of it. We can just be very delicate and use as much as we need. See? With the same one I took two. 1, 2, no. Let's free it. Another useful technique you can do with specimens that like to attach to the substrate, I'll lower the luminosity, is use the micropuppet as a pump. So the creatures that are attached will stay on place. See, I'm using it very carefully around the specimen. And I've detached the Loxophyllum from the substrate, and I can now take it carefully and free it. Let's see if we can find more interesting things. Here's an Hydra, and now we can see that the opening is too small for it, so I'll use another opening. I won't take it now. Here's another Hydra, and let's see if we can find a naked amoeba, because those are also can be identified with the stereo microscope. By the way, if you got any questions, remarks, please write it on the chat. I'd like to hear your techniques as well. Now I'm looking for amoeba. Oh, here is a division of hypertreech. Looks like it's about to divide. And should be some amoebas here. Here is a Tistodinella. You won't see that angle with an upright microscope. Nice. Okay, this one looks to me like an amoeba. Could be, I'm not sure. No. Where are you? Zoom out. Of course, the less water we're using, it will be much clearer view, but then we'll have some problem of sucking with the micropipette. You can see now Leposinclis. Clearly see its eye. But we can't see its flagellum. Okay, let's see what else. We'll do it more methodically. Yeah. Here is the Orcula. You know what? Let's take this Orcula, and you can see that with the micro needle I can very gently separate it from the debris. Clean around. And transfer it. So where are we transferring to? It could be two things in my case. It could be a clean new dish with clean water, so I can pipette it from there to my slide for examining, or if I just want to transfer it to another dish to further examination with the inverted microscope, I'll just use the same water. We can see here one of the nice red hypotrichs. Could be Oxytricha. But where are our amoebas? Another hypotrich. Diatom. Up to around 20-30 microns you can easily identify and detect every creature in this sample. You can do it for a certain degree with, of course, with a 4 or 10x objectives on an upright without a cover glass, and then pipette from there, but you lose the zoom ability, and of course the most interesting um, important thing is the upright position of the head, or here is a spirostomum, and the ability to see a 3D view, which very help with manipulation. Here is another red hypotroph. What happened to all the amoebas? Oh, here's a nice stentor. We can easily see its sheath, I don't know how to say that, around its leg. Again, one of the things that you probably miss with an upright microscope and the cover slip. Okay, haven't found here. It's very, the top layer is very dense, so our viewing is very disturbed. I'll take a fresh sample now. So I'm taking a new dish. I use the top lids as well. They're perfect for that. A little cleaning. Because we are using dark field, illumination cleaning is very important because you'll see every detail of debris or dirt, and it will hamper your viewing. And I've got this black patch here for a reason, because against the black we can see much better if there is any dust on our glass. So with the transfer pipette, I'll take now a fresh sample and I'll take it from the bottom of my jar. Found that around volume of two of those is a nice compromise between volume and visibility. Let's switch me off. Turn the light on. Again, don't start with too much magnification. So you can see the top layer now also has bacteria, but much lower density. You can see a stentor. And there should be some nice amoebas here. Another Loxophyllum, a lot of Urucentrum. Plotted. It's also beneficial to give it to rest a couple of minutes for things to settle down. But as you can see, scanning is very fast. And you can cover a lot of volume, of sample volume, within a minute. Okay, I don't see anything interesting in here, so I'll suck the sample. Using the same dish, I'll take from another part of the sample. I think this one has some more potential. Okay, we can see it, the state amoeba. We can go back to it soon and see if it's moving its phylopodia out. But let's zoom out a bit. The water flea. What's that? Don't know. Let's move it a bit. Oh, nothing. Just detritus. Should be some nuclearia amoeba on the Spirogyra. And okay, we found ourselves an amoeba. Along the way you learn to recognize but this one is an amoeba. I'll zoom it a little bit in. This one is a naked amoeba. Maybe we'll find one that it's more identifiable. Okay, let's look a bit on those Spirogyra filaments. Stentor. If I'm thinking about my microscopy time, I think 70% is done on the stereo microscope, around 20% on the inverted microscope, and only 10% on the upright microscope. An ostracod. Oh, you can see here a testate amoeba, probably empty. Okay, I don't know where all the nuclearia went. Okay, so it's not a lucky day with amoebas. Here is a ostracod and a worm, and I've seen here a gastrotrich walking around. Yeah, hey, what's that? It's a globular red one, ciliate. I think it's part maybe of the hypotrich we've seen earlier. But where is that gastrotrich? Here it is, a very tiny one. It's on the debris now. Okay, let's say I wanna get this one. It's better to zoom out, clearing things, and suck it like that. I've also noticed this one looks like a scuticociliate. I'm not sure, but I think I've seen yeah, here it is. We can see Acromatium bacteria. I'll zoom in digitally so you can see better. Let's see what else is interesting here, if any. Basically we're seeing, okay, now here we see the importance of color, because I think this one is an amoeba. So I'll take my needle. Oh, it's right on the edge, so I have to be careful. Yeah, I think it is. What else? This one is Pericentrum. I can even see it trailing its caudal cilia. Don't know if you can see it in the video, but I see it. Here we can get a nice view on this ostracod. again, the viewing you can get with stereo or inverted microscope without a cover slip is much more natural. Who is this nice dividing one? Probably frontonid. Peritrich. And I think that's enough for today, as getting to know the potential of the stereo microscope when dealing with protozoans. I just want to emphasize that although this one is somewhat fancy microscope, you don't have to get such expensive instrument to use those techniques. I think any stereo microscope that can give you a zooming factor of 4 at least will be very, very beneficial to you. And I like to hear your techniques as well, and every remark that you wanna write is very welcome. Till next time, see you.